because they're funny as all get up, I think. Um, but we were literally just talking about the Chrisleys or Creasleys or whatever you want to call it, however, whatever you want to call them
Yeah.
on that whole thing. Yeah, yeah. So,
I'm here.
oh, I see you.
I had to boot a cat. She was starting to get rambunctious. She's a kitten. She's not even a year old. So she's very just. One minute she's sleeping, and the next minute she's parkouring through my house. So
We are going to go live in 5, 4, 3, 2, and what's happening, fam? How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? Yes, I know it's a Tuesday. We're not usually here on Tuesday, but if I can get these two on stage with me, we're going to make exceptions. So we are here on today. First off, I definitely got to thank Winnie for hanging out with us. You can see Brad Cole is also in the house. So I appreciate each and every one of you for being here and for us to talk about some things that apparently we're not talking about.
right.
And tie some strings into certain places. So, like always, like I'm not gonna act like everybody knows who you guys are. So, Winnie, I'll let you start off. I'll shut my mouth and let you introduce yourself. Tell them who you are.
Okay. Well, I'm Winnie Schrader. I'm born and raised in Minnesota. Grew up here. I have a true crime podcast called Mysteries, Mayhem, and Merlot every Sunday night at 9 p.m. True crime is my jam, but I wear multiple hats. Yeah, so that's what I do. That's my passion is true crime and things like that. And obviously, there's so much popping up in the news lately. I had to come on and talk to you about this one article I found, which was quite shocking. Very.
That it? Okay.
Well, yeah. You introduce yourself, Mister. You go ahead. You introduce yourself,
Hi,
Mr.
everybody. Brad
Brad Cole.
Kohler, former UFC fighter, author, inventor, businessman, and now candidate for governor here in Minnesota. On to talk about Winnie's article, which is quite interesting, and I guess now the Chrisleys, I think, where these crazy pardons we're hearing about. Okay.
Yeah, the Chrisleys. Of all people to
Chrisleys,
pardon
yes.
these two, yeah,
I mean,
they got pardoned on tax evasion and fraud. That's who he chose to pardon, not somebody who was probably put away, who's innocent and put away from prison is trying to get out. No, don't pardon them. Let's pardon the Chrisleys.
you're right. You're
Alex
right.
movie star. I mean, come on. It's a joke.
Well, I watched the show. Like I said before, we are reality show junkies. We are. Period. Point blank. I let that always be known. I watched the show. I followed that situation from the time they went to jail, and they are as guilty as guilt can be. I mean, you can't get any guiltier. You can't. Oh my God! And my wife and you brought it up. My wife and I was literally just talking about that before I came down here. Emailed Brad the site. We were just talking about that, and I'm sitting here going, "You cannot get any guiltier than these two. You can't.
Well,
I mean, it's like their crime. If you watched it on video, you'd be like, yes, they did it.
Oh, they did. They very well did. And what's stupid about this whole thing is that I thought this was the administration of getting rid of fraud
Thank you.
and waste and lying and cheating and stealing. I thought this was the administration for that, yet he pardons a family on tax evasion and fraud.
Well, coming from a guy who, of course, was on that side that was innocent and did not get pardoned, that really pisses me off. So I am not agreeing with that. So
Well, and that kind of follows into the next court issue that we're having with the article I found in the news. I'll just delve right into it.
Yeah.
Now
Why don't you
this
break
ha-
that? Yeah. When you break
yeah,
break that down a little bit, and let's have a conversation on this one.
Now, this
okay,
is
so
in
this
what state was it? Maryland?
well, he's out of Maryland, but he testified in the George Floyd case as a
Mhm.
medical examiner expert on the stand.
Right.
Mhm.
But yes, he is the forensic pathologist. That's the technical
Right.
term for it. Out of Maryland, his name is Dr. David Fowler. Now, an audit of Maryland autopsies had uncovered at least 36 in custody police deaths that should have been considered homicides. State officials announced. Now, this was last week or May 15th. So Thursday, following a comprehensive review of such cases, spurred a widespread concern about the former state medical examiner's testimony in the death of George Floyd. Now, the medical examiners under David Fowler displayed racial and pro police bias, according to the review, and they were especially unlikely to classify a death as a homicide if the defendant was Black and if they died after being restrained by police, Attorney General Anthony Brown said Thursday in a news conference. These findings have profound implications across the justice system, and they speak to a systematic issue rather than individual conduct. The auditors reviewed 87 in custody death cases after the medical expert called Fowler's work into question because he testified that police weren't responsible for George Floyd's death. The Maryland team focused on cases in which people died suddenly after being restrained, often by police. Three-person panel evaluated each autopsy, and in 36 cases, they unanimously concluded that the deaths should have been classified as homicides, but they were not. In 5 more cases, 2 of the 3 reviewers came to that conclusion. So basically, what it's telling you, the people who have died in police custody, this medical examiner is putting down the cause of death as natural causes, heart arrhythmia, like in George Floyd's case, but never homicide. Now, if they have these come into question, well, I guess there's going to be a few police officers going to be in trouble here if they can reopen these cases and re-examine it. Because if they change the cause of death to homicide, somebody's got to be pay the price for causing that death.
Now, are we talking police, prison guards, or both?
It just all it says is in custody. So it could, I don't know if it's transfer from, a county jail to a court, depending on if the defendant is, if they're acting up. I don't know. It to me it almost sounds like more it's like on the initial arrest. And
It does sound confusing when you say in
yeah.
custody. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But from what I've gathered and just kind of looking through and kind of piecing it together, it almost feels like they're talking about like when somebody gets arrested or restrained on the initial arrest. Now, I'm sure there are plenty of deaths in jail that were considered natural causes, but were caused by,
Well, that's from the food.
yeah, so it's like, but I think what they're
food's
talking
horrible.
about is, yeah, but I think what they're talking about in this case is when people get arrested, when they're in custody, being
Yeah.
transported, you had that, for some reason, I can't remember the kid's name, I completely forgot it, but the one that died while in transport in the van, they said that he must have just died of natural causes in the van when they found bruises and stuff all over him, and they think, well, maybe he was tossing himself around in the van. Well, why would you do that? I just, so it's just, but seeing this article really, really gave me pause because I'm thinking now if they go back and reopen these cases, how many police officers are going to be on the hook for this? And how are we going to fix this? Because we can't be having medical examiners fudging causes of deaths. That's illegal. And you know what I mean? It's I don't know. And to know that cases like George Floyd, obviously Chauvin did get arrested and was convicted and put in jail for it. But what are all the other officers that aren't? And, I would be interested to see what these families of these victims, what they have to say. If there was any witnesses to a lot of these cases, I'm sure they're probably going to start digging into it. So we probably get more news on this.
Yeah, They would definitely have to. And when I was reading a little bit on this case, it kind of reminded me of that I think she was in New York, the forensic scientist that botched all those cases. And they had to go back and basically pull and redo her. And this is the thing that I'm talking about. Also, we found out that 4 years ago, they actually executed a man who said that he was innocent. Come to find out through DNA testing, his DNA wasn't on the gun. They actually found the guy who did the murder, arrested him, but the man that they had in custody, they had already executed him already. So, these are the type of things that I look at and say the governor needs to open up cases and actually look at things. I met, when I was down at George Floyd Square on Sunday, I met a few guys that was down there who was fighting for the incarcerated guys, especially the guys in Stillwater. Brad knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. When you start pulling in scientists and these people who swear to God they know everything, and we gonna take their word for it. I mean, they have to be right. Just like this guy here who came in and testified on George Floyd's case. Come to find out, he wasn't right. He wasn't.
Right.
And what you have to say, what you have to think, though, too, what he said on the stand. Now, if what he said on the stand was the ultimate decision on giving Derek Chauvin a not guilty verdict, then what would have happened? If he would have got off, and because they always do that with juries, they'll ask and say, what was the fact that swung you to guilty or not guilty? And it's usually like one thing. Oh, it's the DNA found on the gun, or it's this or that. Well, I'm going to trust a medical examiner. If he says he died of natural causes, it wasn't the cop that did it.
We weren't talking also about an officer who didn't have a, troublesome jacket himself, he's been reprimanded many times. So it wasn't like, it's, officer who's done everything by the book, medals and all kinds of stuff. That we weren't talking about someone like that. We're talking about someone that had a relationship actually with Floyd over years that have known each other. Yep. And so, that whole thing has just been, kind of things, like typically when a police officer is arresting somebody, you don't know them. So also knowing somebody and having that subconscious that they're a bad person, you don't give them as much respect that you probably would somebody else. Like, this isn't so-and-so's father or son or whatever. They knew who he was, so they automatically treated him bad. That's
and that was something that really wasn't in the news at the time. That actually Derek Chauvin and George Floyd had come across each other numerous times prior to that, and not even in an official police situation. I mean, it's been when he's off duty, and they've been at the same bars and hangouts.
Yeah, they work together. They were bouncing in a bar and all kinds of. And then,
that's
but
right.
They grew up in the same area. It's like, or they were. I don't know. Somehow, I don't remember the whole thing, but. Looking at that, and when people ask me about it, I just said, there's a lot there that you'd have to really research and take into account. But bottom line, me and Rev talked about this many times, that, I think that he, this could have been prevented.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, yes. Especially when and going back a little bit to what you said, let's just say this guy who we know now has messed up big time, came in, testified on Derek Chauvin's case, and his testimony got him off. Would Alpha News and Liz Collins been fighting to get that guy's license taken away from him? I doubt that.
Yeah.
I totally doubt that. Matter of fact, Alpha News and Liz Collins had not done a story on this guy. So what, you know, because here's my thing. If you're going to push a story, this is what I've been saying to everybody. I got many people upset at me, especially a news site that I've got to take care of tonight. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to tell the story, tell the whole thing. This guy testified on George Floyd's case. This guy has been found to be corrupt. Where is Liz Collins on this guy?
I don't. The only place I found this article was on a local radio station news site.
Oh,
It was.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure Liz knows is out there. I'm sure Liz knows he's out there. But she will not tell. She will not tell the any other side of the story. She just will not do it. It doesn't matter what evidence comes up. She has to stick with her story. She can't go back on it. She can't make changes, and she can't show other evidence at all. At all.
Well,
I don't get it. I don't understand, because I'm sorry, but this is the transparency that we need here in Minnesota, even, well, across the country, but especially here in Minnesota. We need the transparency to know what is going on. We pay for all this crap. Taxpayers pay for the government. We have a right to know the full story. We have the right to know that some of the officials that we have are corrupt, and we need to get them out. Why can't I? Honestly, it's gotten to the point where so divisive. I don't even know if I want one medical examiner on each death. Maybe we should have a panel. 3 of them, and then whatever. If they all conclude the same conclusion, there's your answer. It was either homicide or death or natural cause, whatever.
We've got to go back to better police training. Of course, we've got to really kind of crack down on crime. One of the problems why this happened also, and again, amongst many, is that our current administration is not tough on crime. They especially now, I mean, people are doing things and they know they're going to get caught and released, so police aren't even arresting them. So, I mean, we're looking only 5 years ago, and, it was pretty bad back then. And now it's even worse. So you think they would learn from this, and they haven't, so,
I know. And it's
so they
scary.
haven't done anything about it. That's
Right.
frightening.
It's very frightening. Well, to know that in 5 minutes it could happen again, and then we're right back to where we were 5 years ago.
And I'm not saying I do support the police officers. I know they got a tough job, and I know hey, if you get the cops called on you, it's not because they're wanting to come pick up cookies. Okay, there's something going on. Okay, somebody needs help. Somebody needs help, or someone's doing something bad. So I don't like to say that negative attention brings negative results, but come on, so when things happen, I think we've got to be stiff on crime. We've got to make it so people aren't afraid to commit crime these days. They throw on a mask, go running into Walmart, they tear the place apart, they run out with stuff. I mean, they're making new laws that you can't arrest them unless it's over $1,000 of this and that. I mean, the way it is now, I mean, it was that way back then. It's just we're seeing it more now because social media is really blown up.
Yeah.
But the problem again we have here is we have leadership that does not protect its people. Now, on top of that, he wants to pass the no key law, so you can't lock your house or your car. You hear that, right? You heard about that, right?
What?
Yeah,
No.
that's just been. I mean, let's be real when it comes to that type of crap.
But when you
That's
can't
crazy.
defend yourself,
No, that's crazy. Period. Point blank. I mean,
yeah.
I don't even know why anyone would even fathomly come up with something that's stupid and that's ignorant.
I
Have you
don't.
seen this
Oh,
fruitcake on stage? Are you kidding me? This guy
oh,
is he's off the charts. I mean, his whole thought process is out there. You know,
oh.
from
That,
stolen valor and then some. This guy's out there, and so to come up with something like this, I think is just another distraction for them to steal more money.
that doesn't
So
even make sense. What? That's what they're doing with our their time?
they,
What
they,
the
I'll
heck?
pull it up right now.
Oh
It's
my
on
gosh.
Getter. It's on the social media platform Getter that came out today.
Yeah,
On Getter.
I don't. I read that. I read a little bit on that, Brad, and I just don't. I don't understand how. Um,
Will it get traction? But who thinks of this stuff?
no, that's why.
Right.
That's why I said whoever the idiot is that would come up with something like this. It's just so far fetched. It's not even. I mean, it's ludicrous, man. I mean, I don't even know. That's why I didn't even touch it because I'm sitting there going,
You
"This
have
is
no
stupid."
words.
I have no words. There is no words for what they want. This no key thing.
They already have a no self defense law, and now you can't lock your car or your house. That's it's like, what are they really pushing for?
Or your
They're,
business and
I mean, it's so
I don't know.
when it comes to like how any of this stuff is handled, you just wonder, going, how much more are we going to take of this?
It's
Any of
just
this anymore?
obscene. It's that is such a waste of government time. I mean, let's start really fixing the issues we have and don't keep putting all this damn fluff to distract us. Every time that stuff comes out, I'm always going in the back room looking around the corner and see what my kids are doing back there. That's me. It seems like we need a mama bear to just kind of rein everybody in and say, "Hey, get to work, get the broom, you go over there, do your chore, and do your job." I mean, that's what we need. We have all these distractions going on, and it's so maddening, and people are missing the messages, both,
yeah,
nationally and locally. I mean, they're not reading between the lines at all.
no,
I,
and that's true. I mean, I looked at that bill that you're talking about, Brad. I looked at that in the same way I looked at Minnesota saying it's okay for a woman to walk around without a shirt on.
Um,
well,
I'm,
I guess if you
you
feel
know,
the need.
I
right.
got to tell you,
First off, I'm sitting here saying to myself, you know how many cameras? You know how many cameras would be out? People taking pictures. I mean, do people really think about what they're that it's okay for a woman to go? Well, you know what? Hey, if a woman wants to go topless, that's fine, but don't complain about people taking pictures. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear. I don't want to be. I don't want to
again,
see a new law being written saying where you can take pictures and where you can't take pictures because this woman want to walk around in the park with no shirt, no bra on.
again, this thought process to who wants to do it to then making it legal again is just
Oh my
we
God.
just I mean we got to get in there and reel it back, man. It's just It's getting out of
Oh
hand.
no. It's and it's just so bizarre that somebody was pushing for that. I really want to walk down Minneapolis streets topless.
You
And I
can.
should be
No,
able to.
you can right now. And nothing
I
will
know,
happen
but
to you because the
Yeah.
Minnesota Supreme Court said that it's okay for a woman to walk the streets topless. No problem.
it's such a bizarre thing to even bring up.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. That key law thing, I looked at it the same way. This is so nuts. It's not even
Ew.
We're gonna start seeing a lot of those signs around again. No shirt, no shoes, no service.
Right? Oh, then you'll have somebody trying to pass a law to fix that. So you'd be
Yeah,
sitting
right.
at
Yeah.
McDonald's
Yeah.
looking
So
at Granny over there with some pancakes and flap cakes.
Oh gosh.
right. So this dude who botched all these cases, who
Yeah.
testified with George Floyd. Now I didn't read to the end. What's his status now?
Now they know of
Let's see.
36, right? 36 cases, right?
Yeah, 36 out
Okay.
of the 87 cases,
Right.
36 of them should have been declared homicides when they were
Homicide.
declared natural causes or whatever. Let's see here. That now Fowler, who testified in the defense at the 2021 murder trial of the former Minneapolis officer Derek Chauvin, because he was for the defense.
Right. So
He
he
said
is
that
he's always for the let's make that one part I got. He's always been on the part of the defense
yep.
on
And
all
I
of these
think
cases.
Yeah.
And he's kind of, from what I've gathered, he kind of has tailored his career as being the forensic examiner for these specific type of incidences. So, he probably looks at each case. If there's physical injuries and somebody dies, well, you can't really hide that. But like in George Floyd's case, he said that Floyd's death was caused by a sudden heart rhythm disturbance as a result of his heart disease. That was his cause of death that he said. Even though Derek
Heart
Chauvin
disease?
kneeled on his, he was kneeling on his neck and cutting off his trachea, but that didn't kill him. It was his heart disease. And then, of course, it says now that they have called for an investigation to determine whether these in custody deaths under Fowler's leadership exhibited some bias amongst the potential issues. So right now, it's not really kind of giving what's going on. I'm wondering if he's probably, I would guess to say, suspended or put on some, I don't know what they call it, but I'm sure he's retired, but I don't know if he's still doing any type of medical work. I'm assuming if he is, they would have to have him cease and desist and not work until this is squared away. Because, when it comes to medical stuff, whether you're in a medical exam or not, you have the Hippocratic Oath. And they don't want to risk that hurting if he's seeing patients or anything like that. I'm not sure. But yeah. And if that's the case too, he can get charged with, fraud and, forgery and I guess forged a death certificate. I don't know what they would call it.
Perjury.
Yeah,
Perjury.
and fraud. So yeah, so he would definitely have legal repercussions for that as well, I'm sure.
So and he did not perform an autopsy on
No, what
George.
he did
He
No, what he did was he read the findings and concluded his cause of death to the jury based on what the autopsy said. So yes, George Floyd probably did have heart disease. He probably had a
did.
heart arrhythmia. That's what happens when your air is cut off.
Thank
When
you
your
very
air
much.
is cut off, you go into cardiac arrest. That's what cardiac arrest is, when you stop breathing. That's what it is. So yes, he had a heart arrhythmia because his air was cut off, which put him in cardiac arrest, which caused his heart to stop, and he died. It's plain and simple.
Now, just asking some questions here because, again, I don't know all the answers, but I have some
Mhm.
questions. And were there drugs involved?
I'm sure, I believe he did have some narcotic. I'm not sure which one
Before
per
they
se.
before they put him, when they was pulling him out of his vehicle,
Mhm.
George Floyd swallowed a package, and in that package is the where they say they think it was fentanyl because he had fentanyl, they say a couple of other drugs in his system. Now,
Mhm.
um, by the time they got him to the hospital, by the time they got him, hold on, let me do this here because I have seen a body when it is in full cardiac arrest from a drug overdose. The reason
Mhm.
I travel with Narcan in my vehicle, the reason I have been trained to use the Narcan is for the George Floyds of the world. I've watched a body flounder around when it's
Mhm.
on OD'd off of George Floyd body did not move that way. And
Mhm.
here's the one thing that because I've seen it happen. Those who have never seen somebody OD wouldn't know this. But when a body is ODing, it is fluttering like you wouldn't believe. I've seen it
Yep.
happen,
Yep.
own two eyes. George Floyd body never fluttered. His
Mm-mm.
airway were cut off, and he flatlined. There's a whole see, people don't understand that. Now, so he goes in and get an autopsy done. Any drug that George Floyd took before the encounter is going to show up in his system. We don't know if when they sat George Floyd on that wall, if George Floyd had fentanyl in his system. We don't know that. We don't know when they sat him on that wall or tried to put him into the police car if he had meth in his system. We don't know if when they tried to put him on the street to put their knees on his back or necks or legs, we don't know if he had marijuana.
Mhm.
We don't know. We don't know that. We saw him put something in his mouth. We don't know what it was. We don't know how lethal it was. But what we do know is that man's body did not react like somebody who was ODing. It did not.
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
get the
saying.
muscle twitching. Yeah,
So
it's when people OD, it's almost like they're having like a little seizure almost. I've seen it happen too, and uh, it's different. It's not as you don't just pass out.
You don't just
It's
pass out.
no, and if he was literally ODing on fentanyl, he wouldn't have been able to resist the cops.
Thank
He
you
would
very
have been
much.
he would have been a bowl full of Jello out there. He would have just been he would have not even he wouldn't even have fought back. Like he would he wouldn't have the energy to if he had that much fentanyl in his system or
Well,
whatever. The only drug that would
well,
give
well.
him
I'll
meth.
because and because the police has always told this lie that when somebody is on drugs, they become 10 times more stronger. You
No
yeah, you ever hear it? That Rodney King,
meth.
when they beat Rodney King,
Yeah.
that's what they said. Oh, he was on PCP, that made him 10 times more stronger. That lie has always been told by the police if they think somebody is on drugs. That person is 10 times stronger, right? The white
Yeah.
kid that was shot by the police officers on his porch in St. Paul, when they shot him, he had a knife in his hand. He was 10 times more, he would have been 10 times more stronger.
Mm.
George Floyd was not 10 times, we could see it.
Yeah.
He was just led, he wasn't flopping around. He wasn't pushing up trying to get off of the ground. His body was just literally a flounder. Just a flounder, just
Mhm.
laying there.
Yeah.
so okay. So we got, again, two people that I don't know. I don't want to call it bad timing, but wrong place, wrong time, wrong situation, and
Yeah.
Terrible outcome. So, do you have any other cases that were along this article that talks about something like that happening while in custody, where they actually had a story behind it?
I'm sure I'd have to dig around and see.
Okay. Yeah.
But
I know this is the
that,
most public one with George Floyd, but
yeah,
um,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. It's just
yeah.
that.
And
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh,
I
um,
have a delay, so it's just like, oh, what's going on?
no,
Sorry.
yeah, it's just curious because we have you know roughly in Minnesota we have 10 prisons
Hmm.
that has 9,600 beds. Okay, and currently we have 9,300 incarcerated people and less than 2,000 prison guards. So out on the streets, think of those numbers. It's even bigger numbers because we don't have a lot of police officers right now.
Yeah.
And I think the numbers are coming back a little bit, but we're talking about, you know, 1 in 1,000 police officers to the public, and how many of the public are, you know, at large criminals. So it makes it kind of
Mhm.
it's a sucky job. We need them drastically, but we also got to go back to training. We need
Right.
more training. Okay. And,
Hmm. Yeah.
we talked about this too, Tim. They have not done any training since this happened. They said they're going to be doing it. There was money put into this. Correct me when I'm wrong, but no training was done with the money we put into this. So what happens again? We have a failed administration that just keeps failing
Right.
and
What was the,
distracting us
what was,
again. And this is like
yeah,
again
I
a reason
know.
why we have so much fraud and so much deficit right now that we
Hmm.
we have an administration that does not care about the people. I mean, personally, if well, just for a business standpoint of view, okay, if I knew my crew is at work and they're struggling, the business is struggling, I'm not going to be gallivanting all over the country pretending I want to be run for president. When your people
Right.
need you, you got to be there to fix the problem. You got to dive
Yeah.
in elbow to elbow with your people to help. And here he is running around. So it starts at the top. What are we
Right.
letting them get away with at the top that filters down to the bottom that, well, no one's looking, so what can we get away with? And that's where that true character comes in. You know, that
Yeah.
so we're losing that passion for people to uphold the
Yeah.
law and do their jobs correctly because our leadership is just, well, flat out, I can say it because it's true. It's the worst in the country. The worst in the country
Yeah.
in every category.
Yeah. This is kind of an all hands on deck situation
It
when it comes to
gotta be.
crime in Minnesota. I mean, it's from the community standpoint. I wish the communities, I would love to empower some of these communities, say, take your community back. Have those neighborhood police watch groups again. Don't let them be afraid to talk to the police about something happening and they're going to get repercussions and not have the protection to protect them for giving information to the
Well,
cops
we
because
can't.
the majority of
That's the
people say,
problem, Winnie.
I didn't see anything.
That's the problem. We can't do anything. There is a no stand your ground law. So if you were to
Mhm.
go out there with your community and catch somebody, there's nothing you can do. They can beat the crap out of you, and you're not allowed to defend yourself. That's Minnesota, and that's what needs to change. And until we get a grip on all this stuff,
Mhm.
when Tim and I are in office, I'll tell you what. Uh, you've heard the term there's new sheriffs in town. It's going to happen.
Yes.
The police are, we're going to work with the police, the communities, we'll bring everybody together, unite Minnesota, and we've got to fix our safety here first.
Well,
And
there's no checks and balances.
right.
That's what the big problem is.
Accountability.
And we wait until things happen, and then we go, well, oh, maybe if we would have looked into that, or maybe if we would have checked on it, or maybe we would have thought about, you know, what would happen, or try to look forward to the future. In 2019, when I testified at the state capitol, if they had listened to me, maybe George Floyd wouldn't happen.
Right.
If they would have got serious about crime, maybe George Floyd wouldn't happen. If they would have got serious about doing things about these young kids running wild in the communities,
Yep.
maybe George Floyd wouldn't happen. If they would have got serious about carjackings, if they would have got serious about the drug use and drug sales, maybe George Floyd. There's a lot of things that we could have done to make sure George Floyd didn't happen. If Mayor Fry would have banned that move that Derek Chauvin used, that MRT move, Derek Chauvin definitely wouldn't be in jail right now. He wouldn't have been in jail. But Mayor Fry ran on cleaning up the police department. He ran on no-knock warrants, and all of a sudden, Amir Locke is dead. The wrong kid gets shot in a room.
Right.
And nobody's ever been held accountable for that, accounted for that situation.
Nope.
At all. There's a lot of things that we could do right now that will stop a lot of what's going on. But because everybody they're about to shut down the government because these two parties that y'all love so much can't get together and get their acts straight. Can't make Minnesota run correctly. They would rather shut it down than actually say, let's get together and let's get this done right. Everybody wants to be right. Everybody wants to have a win. They want to put a point up. Look at what we did. Look at how we do it. And who loses? The people. The people loses. Why? Yeah. Because we got ignorant people at the Capitol right now. As we speak, they are at the Capitol right now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's it's the elections are not like job interviews. You can buy yourself a seat, and that's what's so sad about this. And we may not have the kind of capital some of our opponents will have, but we're out on the ground, boots on the ground, meeting people every day, talking on the phone, meeting people every day. And that's what's got to happen. You talked about Fry and what he did with the no-knock warrants. That was very complacent. It didn't last very long because why? There was no training. It just, we're going to do this thing. There was no training. And then, oops, we made a mistake. Oh, let's put the brakes on this for a little bit, right? No,
right.
There was like nothing to prepare for it, and there was no plan. So if you don't have a plan, the old saying, without a plan, you plan to fail. Okay, and
right.
that's exactly what happened. So rather than pounding in their chest and we're going to do this and please the public, well, everything's complacent. They come in 2-3 weeks and all of a sudden, boom, they're going to find you a whole different reason or a different way to distract you, and it'll blow over. And I'll tell you what, I mean, the whole COVID thing is we get talking about that, I might come out of retirement because it just burns me up of what it did to my life, let alone all these other people. And I'm just not going to let them forget about that. And it triggered a lot of things. And you see a lot of the stuff coming out now about that. But all in all, it gave a lot more reason for our politicians to be very lazy.
Yep, they are. They're very lazy. That's
very
a good
lazy.
word.
Okay.
I mean, can they at least do like a pros and cons column to see what will work? I mean, it's not that difficult what they need to do. Both parties. I don't understand why we have so much contention at Capitol Hill and St. Paul.
The problem is that we have a governor that's so so out there that you can't even talk to him, even if you were like a moderate Republican. He wouldn't come your way at all. That's the problem. He's so one-sided and not he will not compromise on his crazy agenda. And so that's
Mhm.
the problem. We need leadership that listens to both sides. We'll work with both sides. And if you can't work with both sides, we got to make the right decision. But at that decision time, we got to have a round table of really good people in the community that come together to
Mhm.
help us make the decision, because they want to fight big over Republican, Democrat BS. Okay. I want
Mhm.
to help the people. Tim wants to help the people. I don't want to have this red tape. I want to save
Right.
lives. I want to reduce crime, reduce taxes. I don't want to talk about it. I want to go in and do it. We talked about this many times. Day one, look out.
Yeah. And that's what you have to do right now as a politician. You just got to get in there and do it, because it's just, yeah, they've
But a
become
politician
lazy.
doesn't do it. You've got to be, honestly, a true public servant, understanding that
Mhm.
this is a job that you're hired to do. And if you fail at it, okay, you're just another schmuck.
Well,
Yeah. It's
the,
your
the
job.
politicians has had their chance. For years,
Right.
they've had their chance to fix problems, to do things right, to try as the best they can to make people's lives easier. They have had the chance. The politicians have failed. And I don't know what else it's going to take for the people of Minnesota to see that the politicians, the people calling politicians, the career politicians, the ones who've been up there for 5, 10, 15 years, they have failed us. They have done it
Yeah.
to the point to where it's like I say, when they knock on your door and they say to you, we want to go and work for you. And then they leave your front door and go to that Capitol, and they do whatever they want to. Brad and I are not saying I'm not going to work for anybody. I'm going to work with you.
Mhm.
The people of Minnesota have to finally come out of their homes and have to get their heads out of the sand, because their voice is going to be needed. Period, point blank. And it's that simple. We all see what's wrong. We all see what's wrong. But if you don't voice your opinion on what's wrong, it won't get fixed. This is what those politicians know. They know numbers and money. If you come at them in numbers, they'll listen to you. If you get enough people, 1,500 people, they'll listen to you. And they know money. If you give them enough money to get reelected, they'll listen to you. Well, it's about time that the voices start coming and the voices
Amen to that.
start making a difference. That's what this is about. And we've got to get Minnesota to the point to where it is leveling off, and the craziness on both sides. On both sides. We're done with it.
Their town hall meetings is nothing but a bunch of stand up and here's what I'm going to say and speeches.
They don't have town
Rather
hall
than
meetings.
coming to the table.
Brad, they don't have town hall meetings because they're afraid to face the people. They do it virtually.
Well,
They're afraid to
Oh,
face the
virtual?
people. They don't
Well,
want
I'll
to
tell you,
face the people.
but-
We're going to be the only ones having town halls, Brad.
and
Good.
this is
Okay.
how we solve problems. We got to talk to the people, have them
Exactly.
help us with solutions, not create more problems. We're gonna help with the solutions. So that's what I think is very important, because when we go into down to St. Paul and we got to come up with bills and strategies and create policies, we've got to hear from the people, because this bickering back and forth with the red and the blue is just
Right.
I can't take it anymore. It's like
I know. It's like
How-
flag football.
no.
Because
I
right
can't
now,
stand it.
they're down in St. Paul behind closed doors.
I saw.
Think about that for a second. They're behind closed doors making decisions for you and I that more than likely are not going to do anything for us. They're not hearing anything from the people. The people are not. The people have not spoken because they don't ever give people an opportunity to hear, to talk, to say, to understand. So they go behind closed doors, they close the doors, and they do whatever they want to do. And then at the end of the day, we take it in the shorts. That's exactly what happens.
Exactly what happens.
And I know firsthand account that that Brad is correct that Governor Walz will not talk to anybody opposes his view publicly. I have firsthand account of that. So it's not just Brad blowing, fake, stuff up everybody's butts. But yeah, I mean, seriously, he will not he won't even go, even if it's not even a political topic, he won't go on anybody's platform that doesn't fall in line with what he wants to do, and I know that. So
And
that's disheartening because so bad.
I work with trans, I work with gays, I work with people of all races, and I tell you, I talk to them all, Republicans and Democrats. And the problem that we have is we're just so shut off, like, oh, that person's this, rather than saying, no, they're just another person. I mean, if you can talk to them and I'm not even kidding you. It's like sometimes I wonder why there's two parties, because if you just talk to somebody, it's like you can kind of get through to them. And I'm talking to hardcore Democrats going, are you sure you're not Republican? They go, are you sure you're not Democrat? I go, we do think alike on a lot of things. And I kind of like that. I'm not like the politics whisperer or nothing like that. I just like talking to people and finding out what really is concerning them, and ask them, okay, so what do you think the solution to the problem is? And you go, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. You get common sense people talking common sense, and guess what happens? Solutions happen. Doesn't matter where you come from. If you can talk common sense and rationally about something, you can get things done.
There's our new political party, Common Sense Party. Let's do it.
Right.
Yeah, I know what you mean by like I kind of fall in that same vein. I'm very fiscally conservative. I feel like, America should prosper on their works, on their hard efforts and everything. And the government shouldn't prosper on that. We should as citizens. But I'm socially liberal. I am, I am pro-gay, pro-trans. And, it's not, when I say that, it's not saying that I'm for that lifestyle or against that lifestyle. They're citizens just like me, and they have every right that I have as a citizen. Well, so that's how I look at it.
I'm pretty right-sided there, and I'm a Republican, Christian Republican, and to me, it's like, there's two different laws we have to abide by, and that's the laws of God and the laws of man. And for me, it's like, hey, they're not really bothering me. I just don't want it pushed on me. Right. I love the way I am. What's that?
That's your preference, and and that's exactly what I mean. Like, not everybody has to like it.
If you're not hurting anybody, you're not committing a crime. And you're not pushing your agenda on somebody. Hey, man, if you're happy, I'm happy, kind of thing. I don't want to say, oh, you got to be like this because that's the cool way to be, or whatever. But I just have a hard time, with telling people how to run their life here in America, the land of the free. Okay,
it's completely opposite of what America's about. Oh, and
but
that's why
I am a Christian conservative. That again, where me and Rev, we meet on level playing field here. It's like, look, the party is not going to endorse us because we're not party line. We're not establishment. We're grassroots conservatives. We're independent conservatives. And so I think more people are like that than not.
Thank you.
The problem is we have not had candidates to come out there and say, what we're saying today. And
Right.
it's really what the bottom line is, okay? If we were going to vote in a giraffe that could fix the state of Minnesota, what would it matter if it's a zebra or a giraffe with spots or stripes? As long
Right.
as it gets done. Who's going
Yes.
to get the job done, right?
Yep.
That's what I want.
Exactly.
And that's why
Yeah.
I'm running, because I know none of these guys can get it done. They don't want to get it done. Half of them are only running to make money. They're not running to
I know.
win. They're running to get money.
Gotta keep that
Well,
job with Percy
right.
Benny's.
Because at the end of the day, I'm not in this race to score points for the Democrats. I'm not in this race to score points for the Republican Party. Because I know what those two parties are. I know. I've been in both of them. I've carried water for both of them. I've stomped for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because what I've realized is we leave the people out. We do. We leave. I don't care what party you stomp for. The Democrats swear up and down they're going to do this and they're going to do that, and it never gets done. The Republicans swear up and down they're going to do this and they're going to do, and it never gets done. And then if something do get done, that party has to run around and pat themselves on the back and go, nanny, nanny, boo, boo. Look at what we did.
Yep.
Look at what we did for us. And it's really never for the people.
Right.
And I'm tired of that. I'm literally tired of the people getting smashed because these parties have to pat themselves on the back. They've got to feel good for a win. At what stake? At the stake of the people of the state of Minnesota. It's time that the people start winning. It's time that the people start winning. Mm-hmm. Because it's just crazy. Every time you turn around, there's something that these two parties are fighting about. And the minute one of them think they won, they got to run to a microphone and to a podium and go, look at us. Let's throw a party.
Look what I did, Mama. Look what I did.
But the state is still in the same position it was in before you got to the mic.
Actually, if you want to know what this is the United States Constitution that I printed up. And I went, even just in the preamble of the Constitution, I broke it down for my son because I kind of want him to show the contrast of what our federal government is doing, because he's doing U.S. history this year for seventh grade. The first year, sixth grade, it's Minnesota history. Seventh grade is U.S. history. Eighth grade will be world history. So
that's great.
Yeah, they do that. And I really like how they section it out each year. But I broke down just the preamble of the Constitution. I broke it down because I feel like our federal government has literally just the preamble alone has violated the United States Constitution.
Oh,
at many levels.
They all do, though.
I know, and I broke it down for my son in relation to what is happening today with the administration, and giving him an actual visualization and saying, this is what's happening right now, and this is how it contrasts with the U.S. Constitution and our Bill of Rights. So I was kind of breaking it down for him today, and then he's like, Mom, I can't school anymore. He's homeschooled, so but yeah, so it's just it's even at a state level. We need that transparency. We need to know what's going on. The people need to feel like they're involved. I'm sorry, but just by checking a box and putting my ballot in the ballot box, that is not me letting go of my stronghold and stake in the state. That means I voted. That means that the politician is accountable for who voted, the state, if they get voted in. My job doesn't end as a citizen just letting go of that ballot and having it get counted. I'm still a part of it. And voters need to know that too. You guys still have a voice after you turn in that ballot.
Sure.
Speak up.
I give everybody my phone number. When they are on social media, on emails, everybody gets my phone number, and I'll talk to them. I'll take their texts. I respond to everybody, and then sometimes it's an overwhelming day. But these are the things you have to do to really get people to know who you are. Because if you just avoid your people, you're a sellout. Just a sellout. Okay, you're running from them, and so in business, if you don't respond to your customer, you lose that customer. You want to build faith and trust, right? Well, that's what I plan on doing. Me and Tim, we plan on bringing that trust back to this office, because right now nobody can trust what's going on. I want to be very
even know what's going on.
You know?
Honestly, I don't even know what's going on.
We're about as straight shooters as it gets. Okay.
So,
And when it comes to that kind of stuff, I want people to have my phone number and say, hey, what's going on? So, well, come on down and find out for yourself. Come on into the Capitol here. I'll walk you through the whole thing. I'd love to do stuff like that. I think the people in Minnesota need to participate in that. Doing nothing is also an action. And what I'm trying to do is get more people to stop being afraid to act and say, hey, I have a friend that I'm in office now. And so they have my number. They can call me and say, hey, come on down. You know what? Spend a day with Lieutenant Governor over here and see what goes on. And these are the things that I would love to have people do. But they don't have friends down there.
Yeah.
No one has friends down there. And so the thousands of people that I talk to on a weekly basis, I'm building these relationships with them. And it's very important for me to do that, because I want them to, I answer their call. I respond to their texts and their emails. And so when we get in office, they can just give me a call and make an appointment. Come on down. We'll give them the grand tour. We'll include them in what's going on, because we know there's enough knuckleheads down there that aren't doing anything. So
Right. And you know how they always have like C-SPAN, and like they'll have like the Minnesota legislature, what they're doing. Nobody pays attention to that. It would be
no,
nice, to have a governor to say a monthly address to the state. This is what's happening. This is what's in the works. We're trying to fix this issue. It would just be nice to know what's actually going on before it's passed as a bill.
well, let me tell you something. The people of Minnesota own that property. The people of Minnesota are paying us for that. They have the right to come down, and they should have a friend that they can count on to get the job done. And that's what we're working for.
Good. It's refreshing to hear that from a politician. I'm not kidding.
I'm not a politician.
I'm not a politician.
Yeah, you're not a politician, but you're running. Yeah, you're a citizen.
Listen, I will. If it's not right for the people, I won't do it. I will not bend. That's just, and he feels the same way. If it's not right for the people, it ain't happening. That's a politician. Good. We will not compromise.
Yeah. I got asked. I went to, which Brad and I have a meeting on Thursday with some black leaders of the churches in Minneapolis. But one of the things, I met with them first, and one of the things that he asked, he said, "You've never been a politician." I said, "Nope." He said, "You ever ran for anything?" I said, "Nope." He goes, "But you want to start at the top?" Yeah, I do. I do. Because see, I don't have time to go run for a local seat to be a state librarian or whatever. I don't have time for that. I know where things need to be fixed at, and I know where I need to be to get those things fixed. And if that means I have to be at the top to do it, that's where I'm going. I'm not starting in the middle. I'm not a career politician. I'm not trying to be a career politician at all. A career politician starts at the bottom, works their way up. I get it. And I'm proud that they did that. But I see a problem. And the only way I can get that problem done is at the top. Can't get that problem done sitting in being a city council.
No.
Won't happen. Won't happen. But I can make more noise. I can make more noise the higher I get. The higher the rocket go, the more noise it's going to make. Period, point blank.
I'm the opposite. I'm the opposite of that. I did start 5 years ago running for Senate. I got in and learned, and then ran for Congress, learned some more, and then county commissioner and learned some more. And I realized that none of those positions do anything to help the people. Okay. So my goal was to run for governor, but I had to learn the ground floor of what goes on in the politics of politics. Okay. And so you've got to fail to win. You've got to learn how to not just fall, but get up quick if you want to win. And it's not about falling, it's about how fast you get up. So I have not stopped campaigning since 2020, that year when COVID hit. I have been campaigning since 2020. I have not stopped for more than a month in between campaigns. So one of the reasons is I'm committed to this goal. I wanted to run for governor 5 years ago, and I was recommended to start off learning it first, which was a great idea, and I did. And so for me, I never asked for a donation or a dime. I funded the bill myself so I could learn. It was like my education. So now that we have perfected our team, we're over 100 strong statewide with our team. Reverend Tim and I, very solid team and great supporters. So this is the first time I've been asking for donations. And again, people watching is at bradkohler.com. And so, we're going to win this thing. And, we don't have PAC money coming in because we don't want to be bought and sold. I don't want to owe anybody when I get in. Okay. And so $5, $10, I'll take it all day. I love it. Appreciate that. And so, but when it comes to this, again, I had to learn what the role was all about. And I'm a businessman, that I would not do this if I didn't believe I was the best man for the job. I wouldn't have asked Tim to come in if I didn't believe he was the best man for the job. And I've had successes throughout my life. And I'll tell you what, this right here, this is the pinnacle of helping people. And there's no better service than to help people. And again, this is a path God put me on, and I'm in it to win it. So that's it.
Yeah. I like how you're not like, here's our plan. No, you know what you need to do. You just need to get in there and do it. You might have to, tweak things here and there to fit the narrative or what you have to do, but you know what you need to do. You just got to get in the door. And
we got our education people ready to go day one. We got our prison people ready to go day one. Our finance people ready to go day one. We're creating our own Doge. We're creating our own Doge here in Minnesota day one, and we're going to find that money. We're going to go after the crooks. We're going to have transparency, and I tell you what, I'm not playing games. This is not a game with people's taxpayer money. We're going to try to save them money. We're going to definitely lower taxes. I got a great plan to stagger how we're going to lower taxes from first day. We're going to get business taxes gone so we can create more businesses, hire more people. We're going to lower employment tax a little bit and lower real estate taxes a little bit. But our goal is to get rid of them down the road within 1 year. I have a staggered stage plan for that. Okay. We also got a lot of great things going on with, the farming industry. The way Tim wants to reform, our youth programs and what's it called? The camp, Tim, again?
Say again?
The camp for the kids that they get in trouble. Where do they go?
Yeah, we want to look at reopening Totem Town.
No more catch and release.
No more catch and release. The problem right now. Yeah, the problem right now is there's no place for these kids, and sticking them in juvie, letting them sit in juvie for a week, and then letting them go. That's a no more. We can't do that anymore. Because what we're finding out, I mean, when you get to the point where you can't go to the lakes anymore at a certain time because it's gotten so bad. You can't go to Lake Harriet and hang out with your friends after 8 o'clock. Their mindset is, let's just lock everything down. Let's keep everybody away from anything. That's how we're going to solve the crime. Instead of saying, these people, this group of people who can't act right, they're not coming to, they're not going to be around. But everybody else still gets to go and enjoy yourself and have a good time. They rather punish everybody. Everybody get punished for a few that's out here acting stupid, being stupid, running around being punks and thugs. I get punished for being a taxpayer who's doing everything right because they don't know how to control this group of people. That is pathetic. Right. That's going to end.
Yeah. We're going hard on crime.
You can't go downtown and enjoy yourself. Why? Because there's a bunch of thugs down there who has taken over. That's going to end. Downtown used to be a place that you can go, enjoy yourself, have a drink, watch a show, just walk the streets if you want to. If you've never been down there at night and you just want to go walk, you should be able to do that without being afraid, without something happening. That's going to change. That enough of this. Enough. I've seen enough to know how to clean it up. I know how to clean it up.
Our borders coming into Minnesota will be protected. We are going to be hunting down human traffickers, and our war on drugs. We're going to stop the fentanyl, and I mean stop it. That's not. Yes. I don't say something I don't mean. We're going to stop it. We have a plan in place. Day one, our people are ready to go. We got to win this election. We got to get the people behind us.
We will aggress. You know, we can sit here and we can say war on drugs all we want. The war on drugs have failed. And the war on drugs have failed is because they're not really going after the people they should go after. Period, point blank. So, like I said, that catch and release thing. Yeah. Those party days are over like that. I mean, you got fentanyl to take it. Like I said, we just had 4 overdoses downtown alone. Yeah. You know, and it's pathetic. We have to do something different. What is happening right now, what they're doing right now, it's not working. It's not working. Right. You get caught with drugs that can kill somebody, and you only go do a couple of years. You get caught with so much fentanyl. I mean, it's 10 years already. We work from there. We work from 10 years, period, point blank. You're not getting slapped on the wrist. It's just not going to happen. Yeah. You know,
right. I mean, that should be considered a lethal weapon.
That's right.
Technically. Not just a drug, a lethal weapon.
Right. And they're closing Stillwater instead of fixing the things that needs to be fixed. The problem is they don't want to fix the right thing. Should people be in prison? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. There are people in prison right now that needs to be in prison. There's also people in prison that got a bum wrapped and their cases need to be looked at too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But let's not act like that everybody's walking around like an angel that's sitting in prison, because they're not. I can tell you that. I've worked with many of men, 17 years. I've worked with men in prison. So for us to sit here and act like people shouldn't go to prison or people shouldn't go to jail, that's not going to happen here. No. But I also realize that there are people who got jacked, just like this guy that we was talking about at the beginning of the show, who got it wrong. And because he got it wrong, those men went to jail. And they shouldn't be there. We've got to look at that.
Yeah. we have a few of those that we need to look into right away, and get these innocent people out, because again, with our poor leadership comes poor legal system. And
Mhm.
the lazier they are, the more wins, like you said, chalking up the wins, all they're looking for is getting more and more felonies. And, that's one of the problems here in Minnesota is that, they push for that felony right away to justify their job. And those
Mhm.
days have got to end. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
so, you know, first of all, we got go after crime and have safer communities. We got to make
Right.
Minnesota affordable again. We've
Yes.
got
Please.
to we got to make Minnesota affordable again, and we've got to grow our businesses here. I don't just have a dream of something about building another airport and building another international airport that'll bring 250,000 jobs. That's not a dream. It's going to be a reality. When I looked at and talk about the federal funding we'll get from that and all the jobs we'll create, I look at things like that's going to stimulate our economy. So
Mhm.
with our plan that we have and the people already on board and more climbing on board every day, I am very confident that we're going to be the ones to get the job done. So, yeah, it's been a great show tonight, guys. And yeah, it looks like we got quite a bit of people watching and listening. So I appreciate that. Remember, if you
Yeah.
want to get on board the campaign or donate, go to bradkohler.com. And Tim and I appreciate all the help. Have any questions, reach out to us. Certainly would love to answer those.
Yeah, and I interviewed Brad for my podcast, which I'll be having up soon. I've been editing like mad, but yeah. So if you guys want to follow me on social media, you can just look me up, Winnie Schrader, or just go to my mysteries mayhemmerlot.net. That's my website. And then you can find everything that's about me, because I also do a lot of digital content creation. I'm also, I don't know what all I do. Oh, yeah, I help
Book
my
cover
husband with his
girl.
stuff. I don't know. I've done so many things in my life. I wake up in the morning, I'm like, it's like a game of chance. I don't know what card I'm gonna pick up and what I'm gonna have to do that day, but, I also do book editing and all this stuff. And I also help my husband with his podcast, but broadcasting and radio is my love and my passion, and I'm glad I was able to bring true crime. In my
Yeah.
true crime, I'm not just talking about serial killers and things like that. I have a variety, corruption. I my last this last episode, you guys might be interested in it. It's called The Gray State, or Shades of Gray. It's about a fellow gentleman here, right in my home,
50
Apple Valley,
Shades of Grey.
Minnesota. No, it's not 50 Shades of Gray.
Oh wow.
It's just many shades of gray.
Okay.
Uh, his actually his house was like literally around the block from my son's elementary school.
Good.
But this guy was a filmmaker, and he was kind of on those fringe conspiracy theory type thing, and he created a trailer that hopefully A&E was going to pick up, called Gray State, and it's about the militarization of government. Kind of like Atlas Shrugged, or things like that, like those alternate type of I'm not sure, corruption of a police state in the future, and
That's on
things
your
that have
website
been
now?
happening. The episode is up. You can check it out. You can either
Uh,
follow me on YouTube too. It's easy.
yeah.
Just look at Mysteries, Mayhem, and Merlot on YouTube. But yeah, it's about the gray. He called it the gray state, where our freedoms are getting taken away, and we come into this police state, and we're militarized, and we're losing our rights to the point where and it really got to him. And I don't know what caused everything. He also was a soldier that was in Iraq and Afghanistan, so I don't know if there was obviously some PTSD there, but it got in so much in his head, he withdrew from his family and friends. His wife was shut in with him, and the day after Christmas in 2015, he decided to take him and his family out, and because he didn't want his family to live in a police state that he was envisioning in his documentary. it literally it made him go crazy. Like you see the movies, you always see that mad scientist that goes crazy from his research. That's
Right.
exactly what happened. And he took out his 5-year-old daughter and his wife with him.
Wow.
So yeah, and there's also like with the whole war on terror, because his wife was from Pakistan, but like he was having all these Muslim cryptic things, so like nobody knew what he was talking about. So even his crew, the production company, everybody, they were so scared of what was happening with him that he was pushing all of his collaborators and
Right.
everybody that was into this thing. He pushed everybody away, and he was eating, sleeping, and living in front of his computer screen, going over all this controversial and conspiratorial stuff. So it was a really good episode, but it's kind of heavy. So if you don't have a good grasp on that, watching things like that, I would not watch it. But if you want to
Yeah,
check
I'm
it
gonna
out,
check that
please
out.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it hits real close to home. I mean, my kid could have gone to school with their daughter,
Wow.
and
Wow.
but
Yeah, I
yeah,
guess
it was
so.
very sad when it happened.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So,
Well, I definitely appreciate both of you all. It's always a
Thank
good
you.
conversation when we get together. That's what I like. I like a good conversation, and it's awesome for you guys to come and hang out. And like I said, anytime you guys want to hang out, you got Brad. Make sure you take the link that I gave you and put it in your favorites.
Okay. Yeah.
So therefore, I won't have to keep sending it to you. Now, I don't send Wendy. I mean, I don't send
No.
Winnie nothing. She has it.
No,
I've
I
got
got
to
it
keep
now.
sending.
Start the
I'm
email.
not sending it to you no more, Brad. I'm just not doing it. Put it in your link. Hey, but anyway,
He'll text me when he sent me the link.
I know. I thought we're on your show. I thought his show. I'm like, okay, because it's Tuesday night, and I'm like, oh, he's doing his show tonight. So
Right.
it kind of threw me off a little bit.
Yeah. So again, yeah. So I thank you guys very, very much for coming in and hanging out. I just got to clear something up real quick. I mean, you guys can hang around if you want. If not, you can go ahead and take off. But
Well, I do have to take off because I got to put an event up for my husband.
sounds
guys.
like a
Thank
deal.
you. Okay. Good night.
Thank you
All
guys
right.
so
Y'all have a
much.
good night.
Bye.
We appreciate you. Y'all have a good one. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
Just sitting and having a conversation. I know usually I'm not on Tuesdays, but there was a situation that happened. Like I said, this guy had ties to the George Floyd thing. We kind of wanted to, bring that to light today because nobody ever talks about that or anything. But I want to finish this show up real quick because I got up this morning. I'll show you what I got up to this morning, and I'm gonna address this. So this is what I got up to this morning. That's what I got up to this morning. Okay, and I'll tell you about why this was written to me. Okay, that's what I got up to this morning. So make sure everybody get to read that. And the reason for that is this picture here. Now, I'll explain this to you. So that picture right there, I got this not off of that website, but somebody else had retweeted it. So I used the picture that they retweeted to make a point about the park. And in doing that, Shelly decides to send me a tweet this morning. So I looked at it and I said, okay, you're right. But I realized that this isn't about this picture. It has nothing to do with the picture. Nothing. Because I went back and started looking at other people who retweeted this picture, and they didn't get the same vitriol. They didn't get the same vitriol. Your lazy ass being called out. I love when Shelly called me out, because when Shelly calls me out, I get more followers. But you know what I did? I decided to go ahead and apologize anyway, because I realized that this vitriol that I've gotten from this site has nothing to do with this picture. This has to do with me calling out this here site, asking Shelly to tone down the hatred and the racism and the ugliness that has been used towards black people. That's all I've ever done. I've never said one bad thing. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me show you something too. Got it right here. Saved it. I'm glad I saved it. I'm glad I saved it. But this is the person who is coming at me right now. This person right here. We had a good relationship to the point where we would DM each other. We wished each other Merry Christmas. I would say one of my followers who seemed pretty smart with a background want to talk to you, want to meet you. The same person who sent me that I'm a lazy ass and I was going to get called out. The same person said Merry Christmas to me, and I wished them a Merry Christmas back. When I first got on this site, I've never said anything bad about this site. I haven't. I've never put Shelly down. These are DMs between me and Shelly. But the minute I go on the site and it's just hate for black people. If let's say I started a site tomorrow, and on that site it's just hate. I open the door up for black people to come in and just call white people every name in the book. I like Crime Watch. I tried to help raise money for Crime Watch. I like what she do. She's professional. I like using what she says because this is what's happening on the screen. She knows what goes on. And it's a good site. The only problem I have with the site, hold on. Let's go to the site so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's me. Right? So I'm on the site. Maybe it's me. But I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to start me a site just like this. But it's just going to be, I'm just going to put white people on there. I'm going to find white people who are doing things wrong. And I'm going to give black people the opportunity to say whatever they want. Because the only thing I have ever done to Crime Watch and Shelly is I asked her to get the people to tone down what they say about black people. So this is what I'm going to start doing. So hold on. This is a tweet from her. The bottom part, responsible for her pet rats. So people in Minneapolis are pet rats now. There's problems in Minneapolis, but we're going to call them pet rats? It's that type of stuff. And we know who they're talking about. Hold on. We know who they're talking about when they're saying pet rats. We know exactly who they're talking about. And if you don't know, go to the site and I want you to read the comments. This is all I'm talking about. That's all I said. And because of that, for a whole week, her and her minions came after me, saying that I don't like white people when I just had 2 white people on my show. I have white people on my show all the time. All because, all of this here, because I said, right? Stuff like that. Is that a ghetto sled? Stuff like that. I mean, and that's the nice ones. They're talking about people in Minneapolis. Only thing I said was, tone down some of the racism that's on your page. And because of that, I became enemy number 1. That's the only thing I've ever said. I've never said anything bad about the people who are making the comments on her page. I've never said anything bad about Crime Watch. I've never said anything bad about Shelley. But starting tomorrow morning, she's right. I should give her credit for anything I take off of her website. And I'm going to do that. Because I'm going to start posting exactly what I've been talking about. And I'm going to give her full credit for posting the things that I've been talking about. So she's right. So I apologize today for using a picture, even though this isn't about the picture. Come on, really? Like, I'm the only person on the internet that will grab somebody's picture and then use it to talk about. I'm the only person on the internet. That's not true, because that very picture, I took it from somewhere else. But according to the here, I'm the only person on the internet that grabs somebody's pictures and use it. So I apologized this morning. I said, I'm sorry. It was totally my fault. From now on, when I go to Shelley's site, Crime Watch, and I see something, I will post it, and I will give her full credit for that post. I promise you that, starting tomorrow morning. Anyway, fam, y'all have a good night. We'll talk to you soon. I won't be here on Wednesday. Got a ball game. No, he won't be pitching. I think he's going to be catching. Got a ball game. But more than likely, we'll see you on Friday if everything goes well. God gets us up again and give us another glorious day. But thank you guys for hanging out with us. Thank you guys for tuning in. We so appreciate you. Y'all have a good one. Peace. I'm out, fam.